Overdelivery is the number one reason that online language teachers kill their online courses before they even have impact on their audience. In this video, I talk more about the reasons for overdelivery, why we're so compelled to provide more, and what strategies do we need to offer a healthy amount of content and course materials for our students to actually complete the course. This video is a short snippet of my longer online bound premium podcast on Patreon. If you are interested in learning more about the subject of overdelivery, and if you want to sell your courses without pushing your audience's buttons of scarcity and forcing them to buy something that looks so big that they can't say no, I want to invite you to check out my online bound premium podcast. The link is in the description. Today we're talking about overdelivery. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Elena Motonono, and over the past 10 years, I have been helping online language teachers work more sustainably. Overdelivering is at the core of unsustainable work because the more materials you create for your students to consume, the more difficult it's going to be for them to complete your course, and the more challenging it will be to enroll in your next course or program, because they will constantly shame themselves and say, oh no, I cannot sign up for anything until I finish all of these materials. And that is never going to happen. If you're interested in different ways that you as an online language teacher can teach sustainably without one-to-one classes, check out my Smart Teachers Kit. You can sign up using the link in the description. It's free. So let's dive into the number one cause of unsustainable teaching, the overdelivery. Now, why does this happen? Reason number one, if you come from the background of teaching at a university or teaching at a language school, you probably are familiar with the overwhelming materials production that our departments force us to do. There's also tons of materials that we find in textbooks, and not that all those materials are helpful or useful, but we feel like we have to include all of them into our standardized syllabi so that the students can take at least something. So we take this paradigm into online language teaching and online course creation, and we discover that it actually has the adverse effect. And what usually happens is that your students will tell themselves they cannot even start working on this course until they are ready or until they have enough time. And that doesn't ever happen. So this is reason number one why we overdeliver. We place unrealistic expectations on ourselves. Reason number two is there is this unwritten code of good teacher must rules. Now, these are ingrained in us. Our own schools, from our universities, that tell us what all these things we must do in order to be a good teacher. And they put us into this unfair competition with textbooks, with ChatGPT these days, with YouTube and Google, and force us to constantly come up with new things and more things so that our instruction is full and so that our students have enough. The problem is we can never answer the question of how much is enough and when do you know that you have reached enough. We feel like in order to provide high quality materials, we have to provide more stuff. But that is unnecessary. And this is one of the rules that you can let go of. Reason number three is what we hear from the marketing gurus. They tell us about underpricing and over-delivering. And while this works really well for physical goods, I mean, who doesn't like getting an extra little swag in their box of stuff that they ordered from a company? You know that when you offer something extra and add it to your online course, what happens is the student gets easily overwhelmed, and then they prevent themselves from even starting the course because they want to make sure that they have enough time. And so while underpricing and over-delivering may work for bigger companies selling tangible goods, the underpricing of digital products makes them expendable, and over-delivering makes them too overwhelming. So how do we not over-deliver? I'm going to share with you one trick that I really found helpful. And if you want to learn more, you can check out my podcast episode for this week. So this strategy is understanding that less is more and making your materials shorter, more compact, and more digestible. And by that, I mean, instead of creating a 300-page manual, how about you reduce all of this content to just a few pages? Instead of creating long and exhausting vocabulary lists, why don't you create open-ended questions in the worksheets and supply samples of texts or stories for your students to listen to and create their own vocabulary lists? Why not provide your students with templates for answers so that they can fill out what they need to put together? For example, they are listening to your work presentation, mock presentation. They fill out a template that you have created, and then in the end, they can immediately rush to application rather than listening to long PowerPoint presentation videos and really boring on how they should organize their presentation and what they should include into that. Remember that the best rule of thumb for materials in a course that don't over-deliver: less instruction and more interaction. Less instruction as in less teaching and more guidance and more facilitating of your students' output. And you can do that with templates, you can do that with open-ended questions, you can do that with materials that people can easily apply to their daily life. Because after all, not everybody has all the time in the world to do all this work. And people just need to get down to the very basics, take what they need in the moment and use it at their work to get specific results or when they travel. I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you want to stop over-delivering, if you're looking for more ways on how to shift your mindset and what strategies to use, check out my newest online bound premium podcast on Patreon. Also, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It helps me reach more online language teachers. And please leave me a comment and let me know how you are planning to stop over-delivering on your materials and what are your main challenges. Why do you feel like you need to over-deliver? Thank you so much, and until next time.